So listen, I want to speak to the parents, whether you are a mother, whether you're a father, whether you're a grandfather, whether you are a grandmother, whether you're a surrogate, whether you're an aunt taking care of your nieces and nephews. I want to speak to those who have charge over taking care of children. And I'm talking about minor children. I'm not talking about children um, that are now grown. I'm talking about when God has placed you over children, and I'm speaking to those over minor children. The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy relationships. It is your responsibility as the provider, as the protector, as the caregiver, as the guardian. It is your responsibility as the parent to know when the enemy is coming to disrupt a relationship. That could be your relationship with your daughter. That could be your relationship with your son. That could be your relationship with your nieces, your nephews, your grandbabies. When the enemy comes to try to disrupt the relationship, it is your responsibility to speak to those things. It is your responsibility to call it out and to speak to that demonic spirit. You see, the enemy does not want for cohesive relationships. The enemy hates togetherness, hates unity, hates when we are all on one accord. The enemy hates that and will do whatever and will use whomever in order to disrupt relationships. It is your responsibility as the parent, as the caregiver, as the guardian to protect the relationship. Mhm. See, too often our children are placed in compromising positions, compromising roles where they have to defend themselves, they have to protect themselves, they have to care for themselves, they have to provide for themselves, they have to fight for themselves, they have to take care of the daily activities on their own. It's too much for a child. I'm talking about a minor child to do the things that God has given us as adults to do. Mhm. And I know we spend a lot of time complaining about the state of our young people, the state of children. But listen, we have to be honest as adults. A lot of our children are in the state that they're in because we placed them there. We place them there because of our poor decisions, because of our lack of care, because of our lack of support, because our lack of presence. A lot of times children are in the place and the emotional state that they're in because of adult behavior, because we behave badly. And we have to be honest with where our children are. I have to speak to this thing that is not as though it is. I have to call this demonic disruption out. Mhm. And if you are a parent right now, hear the voice of the Spirit right now. If you are a parent, God is calling you to be bold in your walk, to be bold and to stand up and speak out. See, there is power in life. It lies in the tongue. You have to speak to those things. You have to call it what it is. And it's a demonic disruption. Yeah, I'm praying for your boldness right now, for your power. See, God has given you power and anointing. See, your children are waiting on you to take a stance. Stand up against the enemy and speak to those things. See, Satan would love to have your daughter. He would love to have your son. But you as a parent, you as a primary caregiver, you as a provider, speak to those things that are not as though they are. Speak to their present situation. Speak to their future. God, right now, I thank you in advance for covering and protecting our children, that no weapon formed against our children will ever prosper. And every tongue that tries to rise up against our children, we will open up our mouths and condemn. God, I thank you in advance that our children are protected, that our children are covered, that our children are cared for, that our children stay away from drugs and gun violence. God, I thank you that our children are healthy mentally, healthy emotionally. God, I thank you that their relationships are healthy. God, that they don't find themselves in domestic violent relationships.